Whenever an Irish person takes the stage in America, he's either expected to river dance or sing a song. Tonight, I'm going to do both of those things for you. I'm not going to do either. Instead, I want to share a story with you. So yes, my name is Barry Chandler. I am from Ireland. If anybody wants to rub my elbow for luck, you're welcome to. I'll be around for a few hours. But I want to share a story with you. In 2012, let me see if I can move this. Does it move? Up, down, up. There we go. In 2012, I sold my company, a company I'd spent 8 years building. I started in Ireland. It was a software as a service company, and I sold it to a company in California. And I moved out to California, joined this company as Chief Marketing Officer, and I want to share with you what I learned in that company. Let me see if I can move the slides along. There we go. I want to share with you what I learned, but in order to do that, I want to do it through the medium of cats. So who are my cat people in the room? We've got some cat people. Okay, there was a dog walking through here earlier, but there's no cats. So this is a black cat that showed up on my doorstep a few months ago. Kids were visiting relatives, and when they got to see when they went to their relative's house, they discovered that their relatives had 2 little kittens. And my friend was very nervous because he's actually allergic. He breaks out in hives, and his wife does too. She breaks out in hives. But the kiddies, of course, love the kittens, and they were playing with the kittens. And when they were leaving, the kids didn't want to leave. They wanted to take the kittens with them, but the parents, of course, said, no, we're allergic to cats. You can't take these cats with us. But a few days ago, he told me that they're going to get a cat for the kids. In fact, they're going to endure the hives because the kids will be so happy. Cats have a way to convince you to love them. They have a way to convert you. Cats have a way to make you fall in love with them. How many people have seen this? This video has been viewed 78 million times on YouTube. And why wouldn't it have been? It's Oscar-winning, Oscar-worthy material. But who doesn't love that video? So 78 million times, it's incredible. And of course, we all know that cat videos are very popular. In fact, the most viewed category of videos on YouTube are cat videos. People love cat videos. They tag you in them, they share them, they send them to you. For some reason, cat videos always make it to you. So why is that? Why, cats themselves have a way to convince and convert you to love them, and these cat videos always manage to bubble up to the top. Why is that? How do they always manage to get through? Well, it turns out it's scientific. So the University of Indiana studied people watching cats online, studied people with cats in the room, and they determined that just the mere effort of watching a cat alters your brain state. It actually increases your joyful emotions. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel happy. You don't even have to be in the room with the cat. You can just be watching a cat online and you'll feel better. You'll feel happier. And what an amazing thing. Cats don't even have to be in the room to make you feel better. So when you're falling in love with a cat, or you're watching all these cat videos, it's not actually the cat you're falling in love with, it's that feeling of joy, of happiness you're getting from experiencing the cat. And so while we're all watching these cat videos and enjoying them, and there's people touching the tops of cats' heads with their finger, there's many business owners out there trying to reach those same people with their products and services. So those of you with Shopify stores, you're trying to reach those very people who are watching cat videos and not spending time looking at the thing that you're doing. And the problem is that most businesses, as they try and market and as they try and sell, they don't think like cats. And we have to think like cats because cats manage to convince and convert us to do things. So most marketing is useless. It's meaningless. We know this. We know that as much as 66% of marketing is considered valueless and clutter by the people we're trying to reach. Why? Because we're not thinking like cats. We're thinking rationally, and that's not what works. So those businesses that actually connect, that win, that stand out, are those businesses that have actually thought like cats. Companies like Southwest Airlines. How many people love Southwest Airlines? How many people love Delta? Not as many. Founder of Southwest Airlines died this week, but he created an incredible company. Southwest Airlines thinks like a cat. They connect with us emotionally. They're fun. They tell us jokes. They're informal. Last time I was on a Southwest flight, the air steward had a big box of the peanuts, and as the flight took off, he said, "I'm going to put them on the ground, and as the plane climbs, all the peanuts will come down the aisle towards you. Please just reach out and grab your peanuts." We know what it's like to fly in a Southwest flight. It's informal, it's fun. They connect with us emotionally. They think like a cat. They don't think that they're selling tickets. They're doing something bigger. So they have a more meaningful story than just selling tickets. REI is another great example. REI sells clothes at probably a 20% premium to their competitors. You can get the same stuff somewhere else cheaper, but REI is the only company in the retail space that's growing year on year, same store sales. Why? Because their story is not about the clothes they sell. It's about getting outdoors, getting outside, spending time doing the things that are important to you. Guess what they're doing? They're thinking like a cat. They're connecting emotionally with us. They're making us feel better, and then we go and buy their products. Pelotonia, an amazing success story locally, has raised about $190 million in the last 10 years for cancer research. But people don't ride in this event every year because there's bikes involved, or they like riding a bike. They do it for something deeper, something more emotional. It might be cancer, it might be community, but it's not just because there's bikes and I like cycling. They think like a cat and they've got a bigger story, a more meaningful story. Lifestyle Communities is a local business that's grown in 20 years to be this national player in the apartment rental space. They don't wake up every morning trying to figure out how to rent more apartments. They actually wake up every morning trying to figure out how to help you belong, how to help you connect in a deeper way with the place you live or the place you work. So they think like a cat, and they've grown as a result of it. Anybody like some Jenny's ice cream? We love Jenny's ice cream, but there's so many ice creams out there, cheaper ice creams, way cheaper ice creams, yet still there's lines outside the door for Jenny's. Why? Because they're in a bigger business than ice cream. Nobody ever goes to Jenny's on their own. They always go with somebody else, don't they? They always bring a friend, a family member. They go on a date. Look at the lines to Jenny's next time you pass the store. You'll never see one person on their own, one sado, lining up for their ice cream. No, there's a bunch of people together, a group. Why? Because Jenny's isn't in the ice cream business. They're in the business of bringing people together, community. And they know that, so they think like a cat. So brands win when they connect emotionally. So as you think about your products and your services and the very important work of development and payment platforms and gateways, important tactical blocking and tackling, what I'd like you to consider is the business that you're truly in, beyond selling the product. Because if you're drop shipping things, I guarantee somebody else is drop shipping the same product. I'm pretty sure that most of you have competitors who sell similar products, and maybe you're competing on price. We don't want to compete on price, we want to connect emotionally. So consider that. What is the human thing that you're doing? If Southwest helps connect us to what's important in our lives, and Jenny's helps build community, what is the human outcome that you're doing? Cats make us feel better. So what does your product do? So how do you, let me see, oh yes, because if you don't think like a cat, you will lose, and cats always win, even if they've got a bigger competitor. And even if the competitor is an inanimate plushy toy, cats always win. This goes on for like 10 minutes. So we want to think like a cat, don't we? So how do you find this story? So it doesn't matter the size of your business. You could be a pre-revenue startup, you could be a developer on your own, you could be a multi-billion-dollar company. It's the same formula for finding that story for your business. So I want you to write down 5 questions. We're going to give you 5 quick questions that I want you all to find the answers to find your story. The first one is, what do you want the world to look like? What's going to be different about the world because you all exist? If you don't know that answer, then you're probably a commodity right now. You don't have a story, you've got a product, and somebody else has a product, and they might compete with you. But Elon Musk has this view of the world where we're not reliant on fossil fuels anymore. It's irrational, isn't it? It's crazy. But guess what? We buy into it because we're with him. That's lunacy, but we want to go with him. He has a vision for the world. So I want to know what your vision is for the world. What's going to be different about the world because of you and your business? The second question is why? Why do you do what you do? What's your purpose? Why do you get up every morning? You could go work for somebody. You could do something else. You could do nothing. I want to know why you do what you do. It's a critical element of your story, what I would call this meaningful story of your business. And you need to know the answer to why you do what you do. Because it turns out we connect with purpose. We connect with those who have a purpose because we're attracted to those who share our purpose. And I want to know, beyond the thing you sell, what it is you actually stand for. And the third question is, who do you serve? And what are their challenges? What are the things that keep them up at night? Think about your customers, your vendors, your partners. If we know everything there is to know about those we serve, we can not only tell a great story that resonates with them, but we can actually develop products and services that they'll need because we know enough about what their challenges are. So rather than being a solution looking for a problem, we know the problems and we're developing the solutions. So who do you serve and what keeps them up at night? I often see customer service surveys that say on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with our service? And they'll say 6. And you go, okay, thanks. Well, now what do I do? 6? Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. But if I know what keeps you up at night, I'll know maybe how to address that problem. And the fourth question is, what are your immovable beliefs? Last year, Patagonia took out the first TV advert in their 44-year history to protest the federal government's reclassification of public lands. They said, we don't believe that this should be the case. We don't believe that the government should be drilling and fracking and selling off public lands for private enterprise and for profit. We think that we believe that the land is for next generation. So they took out their first TV ad in 44 years to protest the government. And you can imagine what happened. Their Facebook page the next day blew up with people on one side and the other, keep your politics out of clothing, and on and on and on. Other people saying, I'm glad to see you're taking a stand for the thing I believe in. You don't want to appeal to everybody. You actually want to repel those who don't believe what you believe. You want to attract those who are so attracted to you, not for what you sell, but because you take out an ad like that, because they believe the same things that you believe. So what are your immovable beliefs, things you will never go against, and you'd be willing to bet the house, the farm, the business on these beliefs? And the fifth thing, and there's a reason why it's the fifth thing and not the first thing, is what's the strategy that you'll deploy? Here's the problem. Most businesses start at number 5. I have a product, I have a service, I want to build a business. Let's start with a strategy. My sales strategy, my payment plan, my payment gateway strategy, my web platform, and on and on and on. Those answers will come from having us answer the first 4 questions. We'll know what strategy to deploy when we know the answers to the vision for the world we want to see, our purpose, our beliefs, and who our stakeholders are and what they need. So we have to answer number 5 first. The company that I joined in California, that bought my company, didn't want to answer those questions. They didn't want to answer these deeper emotional human connections about the impact their business had. They were stuck in the mud. They thought that they were in the product business, selling products. And so every day they'd wake, a CEO and the board would wake up and they'd chase the next shiny thing. What I didn't realize at the time was my business was one of those shiny things. And 6 months after buying my business, they shut it down. All my customers that I'd worked with for 8 years were gone. And I had no business left, and I was wondering, what do I do now? That company went from a $60 million valuation to a $5 million valuation today. It has never recovered. Why? Because they didn't answer those questions about their vision, they didn't know enough about their customers, and they didn't think like a cat. And I only want to be around people who think like cats. So my name is Barry Chandler, and I started a business after leaving that company in California called Storyforge to help businesses avoid that same fate that my business went through, where it got shut down because nobody knew where it fit and they hadn't taken the time to answer those questions. So I now work with businesses from small pre-revenue startups up to big companies to help them answer those 5 critical questions so they can tell a meaningful story, think like a cat, and convince and convert people to be engaged with them at a deeper emotional level. We work with businesses of all sizes, but if you haven't answered those 5 questions, please go on my website, fill out the contact form, reach out to me. I'll happily get on the phone and answer them with you on the phone. We'll get them figured out, and you'll leave the call with a few more answers to help you with a story so that you can maybe at one point convince and convert somebody like my wife to buy your product, to stay with you for life, and to build a deep, deep emotional connection with the thing that you're selling. And I'll just leave you with a picture of a cat dressed up as Princess Leia. Thanks very much.